Howdy guys, lovely to see you all again. Today we're going to be looking at the Pantera Classic Walk. I did this solo a bajillion years ago, I think it was 2012, and you know, I've got all that hair and the shitty camera, and I just thought this solo deserves better. Someone requested it the other day, so without further ado, let's have a look at my remake of Walk by Pantera. Let's take a look. Alright guys, before we get too excited, we just need to talk about the tuning, which is D standard but a quarter flat. So the easiest way to deal with this will be to calibrate your tuner to 428 Hertz, and the notes of that would be D, G, C, F, A, D. So get yourself in tune and we'll get started. Alright guys, let's have a look at the first section. I'm going to start off with this cheeky bend. I'm playing 15 of the second, 14 of the third as a chord, and I'm just going to bend that 14 on the third string up. At the end of that, I'm going to start with a bend from 15 of the second string. One thing you will notice with this bend, if you've got a Floyd Rose like me, is this note here does go flat if you bend any strings above it, because it's changing the bridge tension. So don't be too worried, don't be too sad, it happens to the best of us. This is what we should have thus far. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 12 of the second string into 15 of the third twice. The second time I hit 15 of the third string, I'm going to roll through this sort of E minor pentatonic with a flat 5 idea. So I'm playing like, you know, kind of around that scale idea. When I get to the third string that second time, I'm going to play 15, 14, 12, 14, 15, all in one pick. So we've got 5 notes there. So from the start of that, okay, then after that I work into this phrase. This is still working around the E minor pentatonic. It's nearly the same thing twice, it's just a little bit shorter on the second. So I'm going to start descending that E minor pentatonic run with the flat 5, starting from 12 of the first string. Then I want to play 15, 12 on the second as a pull off. And then I'm going to have that rolling group of 5 going 15, 14, 12, 14, 15 on the third string. So altogether we're going to have this. Okay, then it repeats it again, but this time instead of rolling forwards, I'm just going to end on the 12. So we've got 2 less notes on the third string now. So altogether of that group, hopefully that's making sense. From the start, hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. All right. Let's slow that down. I've got a bend from 14 of the first string, it's just a semitone, and then I'm going to go 12, 14 of the first and do a slight bend on 15 of the second. Then a very similar idea, but this time I'm going to play 12, 16 on the first and a bend of 15 of the second. So that whole chunk's going to sound like this. To finish that off, I'm going to add an extra 12 on the first string and another bend from 15 of the second. We'll play that all together one more time at a gentleman's pace. Okay, then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. So I'm going to start off with this 4-note phrase. I'm playing 12, 16, 12 as a hammer-on pull-off, and then I play 15 of the second string. Now this 15 is really, really faint on the album. It's almost barely there, so you could almost get away with going before you work into that next phrase. I do like to have it there just because it sort of keeps you in time a little bit better, and it does feel like a little bit more natural to have sort of a bit of a ghosty note there. So we've got this. At the end of that, I'm going to play 12, 16, 12, 16, 12. So there's 5 notes there. Hopefully that's making sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want to play 15 of the second back to 12 of the first. At the end of that, I play 15, 12 twice. So it's pulling off from 15 to 12, hammering back to the 15 and pulling off to the 12. We've got 4 notes there. So all together. Hopefully that's all making sense. Let's go right back to the start of the section, play it at a gentlemanly pace, and then do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. All right, the second section is going to start off with this phrase. So we're still working around the E minor pentatonic. I'm going to be starting from that cheeky flat 5 on 15 of the 3rd string, and then jumping to 12 for the 2nd. At the end of that, rolling down the pentatonic again. At the end of that, let's slow that down. I'm going to be playing 14 of the 4th into 14 of the 3rd, then back to 14 of the 4th again, and then I want to hammer from 12 to 13 on the 3rd string, but I'm giving that some really cheeky vibrato. It's almost like at a Zakk Wylde level where it's basically just going between sort of the root and the semitone. Instead of it being like a sort of a microtone thing, it's a very full bend idea. Anyway, enough about that. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. It's a very similar idea. I'm playing 12, 13, 12, hammer on, pull off on the 3rd string, then jumping to 14 of the 4th. And then I'm hammering from 12 to 13 again with that vibrato or that bendy idea. Okay, after that I take away the front of that lick and then I just do the hammer on from 12 to 13 and then add that bendy thing again. So from the start of the section, at the end of that, so I've got the hammer on from 12 to 13 again. So it's kind of almost like a 2-tone or a tone and a half. No, 2.5 tones. It could almost have that sound. It's got quite an angry sound to it. After that, I'm going to work into this phrase. So what I've got here is 15, 17, 18, 19 on the 1st string. I'm adding some angry vibrato on that 19 of the 1st string. You could almost be playing a tone and a half bend there to 22. His strings were very loose, and with the down tuning as well, it is easy to get some very, very wide and angry bends and vibrato. So let's have a look at the whole section at a gentleman's pace, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the 3rd section. There has been a key change, so now we're kind of in an A minor position if we're in standard tuning. It's going to start off with this phrase. What I'm doing here is I'm playing a cheeky little double stop on the 2nd and the 3rd string from 5. I'm giving that a quarter tone bend for just a little bit of tood. Short for attitude for all you cool kids out there. Pulling off from 7 to 5 on the 4th and then going back to 7 again. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I've got this rolling legato idea on the 1st and the 2nd string, which sort of has the same pulse and accent of what we're doing. I'm playing 8, 9, 8, 5 on the 1st string, all in one pick. And I go to the 2nd string. I'm playing 7, 8, 7, 5 on the 2nd string. And then after that, I'm doing a couple of hammered notes from 6 to 7 on the 3rd string. So I'm going to go 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, all in one pick, and that's going to give us 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that's making sense. Let's go right back to the start of the section and put together what we've got. At the end of that, I'm going to do 2 bends from 7 of the third into 5 of the third. You could also potentially just pull that off. It doesn't make too much of a difference. Then we work into this phrase. So what I've got there is I'm going to go tap. I'm going to pull off, from here. I'm going to pull that 5 down until I'm releasing that to a held tap note on the 2nd fret. So it feels really, really stupid. But I'm going to go tap, then use my fretting hand again. And then I'm going to end with that. So I'm going to go tap, fretting hand, tap, fretting hand. And at the end of that phrase, I'm going to finish up on 14 of the third. And where I'm sliding these two isn't that important, just as long as we get the slid sound. If you want to be super anal, you can go up an octave and just finish on the 14. But as I'm doing it, you notice that I'm not really looking at my right hand and where it ends. I just want to get that sound. And then when I've finished on the 2nd time, I slide with the fretting hand. I'm going to finish on that 14th fret, add some vibrato, and then just before the start of section 4, we're going to have a leading note at the end of this section from 8. So we're going to add in that cheeky 8, and that will help us out with section 4. It will make sense when we put it all together. So let's go right back to the start of the section, play it again at a gentlemanly pace, and then again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. All right, so section 4, we're going to be borrowing that note from 8 of the 3rd string, which we ended section 3 on for the start of this, and we're going to have this. So I'm going to start off with a slide into 9 of the 3rd string, and then I'm going to be playing 10 of the 2nd, so it's going to go. Then I play 9 again and slide it backwards to 8. And then from that point, I'm going to be playing the 10 again on the 1st string. On the 2nd string. So that note's not going to change. So when I've slid back, I'm going to play 8, 10, 8. And then that phrase starts again. So we're going to play this idea exactly the same. The 3rd time, I'm going to slide from 8 to 9 again. And then I'm going to play 10 of the 2nd string. And we're going to play both notes, one of each 3 times in a row, but on the 3rd one, I'm going to add a sexy bend. 1 and 2 and 3. Hopefully that's making sense. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So on the 3 and, I add that big sexy bend. So from the start of the section, we're going to borrow that 8 from the section before, and we're going to go. Hopefully that's making sense. Then what I've got here is we're basically just working flat 5 intervals with sort of a diminished harmony idea, if that makes sense. I'm just basically sliding the same idea up 3 frets. That's a lot easier way to explain it. So I'm going to slide from 6 to 9 on the 2nd string, and then I'm going to be playing the cheeky flat 5 interval on that, which is going to be 10 of the 1st string, and then back up to the 9 again. So it'll go like this. When I hit the 9 this time, I'm going to slide that up 3 frets to 12, and then play 13 of the 1st string. That'll go back to the 12 again, so we're going to go. So when I come back to that 12, I'm going to slide up 3 frets to 15, and then I'm going to play 16 of the 1st, back to 15 of the 2nd, so it'll go. When I hit the 15 of the 2nd another time, so it's the 2nd time, I'm going to slide over to 18 of the 2nd string, 19 of the 1st. That last one, we're going to slide from 18 to 21, and then I'm going to play 22 of the 1st string. Now, much the same as what we had here. I'm going to borrow that timing but chuck it over here. So I'm going to play the 2nd string and then the 1st string, do that idea 3 times. But the 3rd time I hit it, big angry bend, When I get to the top of that bend, I'm going to try and catch the second string so I can bring them both down together, and you're going to get that sort of like dissonant, gross descending bend, which I have an enormous amount of time for. So let's just try working from the second string up to that last bend, and then we'll go right back to the start of the section. Right back to the start of the section now. We'll do it relatively slowly and then even slower with some tabs. Here we go. One more time with some tabs. And that was the solo to Walk by Pantera. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you want tabs to this lesson, please click the link to my Patreon. I've got all my tabs and all my solo builders, and everything that I personally transcribe is up there for your grabbing if you're one of the cool kids and part of the group. I also have a bunch of Udemy courses relating to modes and shredding and all of that fun stuff. And of course, my book, Ultimate Shred Machine, is out now if you want to up your chops in shredding, sweeping, legato, and tapping. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I'll catch you all very soon.